Tom Curran, the Patriots insider, NBC Sports Boston, he, of course, was doing his job as only Tom can. After last night's game, I believe that he had a chance to ask Coach Bill Belichick about Antonio Brown, and what a lengthy exchange these two had.
Bill, I just wanted to see, do you have any comment on the reports? And
No.
All righty. Let's bring in Tom Curran. Well done, Tom.
Thank you, Dan. I actually did follow up and finished it off with an Antonio Brown after the pause and got a next from him. And I wish I was smarter and I just finished it off with a so no comment on the impending birth of Kyle Van Noy's child. Nothing at all on that.
All right. How surprised are you that this happened?
Not completely stunned. No, not shocked. They are looking for talent wherever they can get it. It's a position of need. They've done it before. It's worked. I'm not surprised at all that it happened. I thought it might be a bridge too far. I started to look at some of the little links like, he just almost attacked Mike Mayock. And as far as I know, Bill and Mike are friends. But all's fair in love, football, and war, I guess.
How does this work?
Very simply, they bring him in. They say, be on time, do what everybody else does. It won't be that hard. And then see if he can conform and how long he can conform. But I do think that they have very much a we'll see how it goes approach. They're not going to bend the way the Raiders did because they're not in it for as much as the Raiders were. Do
they have any say on social media? Do the Patriots tell their players, anything you do, we want to see? Or, are they that draconian? I think they ought to be with him. They certainly aren't right now. I mean, Brady and Edelman and Van Noy, on down the line, these guys have much bigger social media presences than you would have ever thought Belichick would have allowed 5 years ago. They comment, they go back and forth with people, they argue with people, some of them, not all of them, certainly a minority probably compared to most teams. But, in the case of Antonio Brown, that seems to be where at least 70% of his stuff emanates in terms of driving teams crazy and saying things that create issues. So if I were the Patriots, I'd say whatever you say on social media, you can just pretend you're saying it directly to Bill Belichick's face if you want to do that still. It's like pretend your grandmother's in the room. Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as the identity of this team, because I'm always fascinated with the Patriots, like who are they this year or what are they this year? Felt like they were maybe more of a defensive-heavy team. Certainly that secondary is wonderful, but did they just become an offensive team with this addition?
They were going to be a defensive-heavy team and a running team like they were last year because of the decline of Rob Gronkowski, I think, and certainly his absence this year. But you've just lost a Hall of Fame player who had one of his worst statistical seasons and replaced him with a Hall of Fame level player who is still in his prime and hasn't suffered any injuries. So I think you can almost scrap all of those expectations. Additionally, within the last month, they've re-added Josh Gordon, who we didn't have any idea whether he'd be back in the first half of the season or not. So this has gone from a team with really just Julian Edelman and Philip Dorsett and no tight end to a team with Josh Gordon, Julian Edelman, Antonio Brown, all in an offense that already has a really good running game. So they're going to be a pain in the ass, Dan.
Yes, they are. How do they deal with who gets touches there? Because I think that would be my concern with Antonio Brown. He's so used to getting the ball. He's used to saying something to his quarterback. But now you have the Patriots with Belichick and Brady. I don't know if they even allow that conversation. Like if Brown comes back to the huddle and says something to Brady like, hey, man, I'm open. Like how does that conversation go?
It'll be interesting to see whether he does the nice, soft, kind Brady voice or the shut the bleep up, I'll tell you when you're open. I know you don't. What will also be interesting, and I spent a lot of time talking to the Pittsburgh writers last night who've covered him, was to hear how imprecise he is in the way he runs his routes. Jerry Dulac, Ron Cook, Mark Caboli, all guys who've been there, Jeremy Fowler, all of them to a man
said that he pays no attention to exactly what's drawn up. He does it by feel. And part of that is the reason why you saw so often Ben Roethlisberger pump and pump and pump, because he didn't know where Antonio Brown was going to be. Brady is not a pumper. So he's either going to be where he's supposed to be or he's not going to get the ball. But he's averaged 10 targets a game every year of his career, and there's games where that's not going to happen here. So it'll be fascinating to see if he can deal with that and the impact it'll have on the AB84 brand.
I know it's skewing negative, but I think it's also the reality. Who's more likely to last the entire season there, Josh Gordon or Antonio Brown?
That is skewing negative. I mean, I think all of us would agree that if we had put our chips on one guy or the other that we prefer to see, I think I would prefer to see Josh Gordon. And I think I would bet on Josh Gordon. It's off the board at the Curran house. That bet is off the board.
Is Antonio Brown going to be in uniform? Will he play against the Miami Dolphins next weekend?
These are all like magic 8-ball questions. Signs point to yes. But, I spoke to somebody, or just communicated with someone last night, and they said, we'll begin to find out tomorrow, meaning today, meaning Monday, as to just how quickly he can assimilate, how he looks in practice. But I guarantee you, it's honeymoon period, first day of school stuff, kid couldn't be happier, tail wagging. It's going to be a great week for Antonio Brown as a Patriot. I guarantee it.
Well, plus he's heading back home, and his high school is, a half hour away from that stadium there. So
yeah, and Bill would hate to break his heart. But Bill, I have family. All right, okay, we'll get you the ball.
That old softy, Bill. Is there any other drama up there in New England?
Just the fact that Brady is now officially into a contract year with and that's what's really fascinating about Antonio Brown. See, I've said all the way through after he got his contract, what's going to happen is Brady's going to have an off-statistical year. He's going to go to the table with them in February or March or maybe even January, and they're going to say, look, Tom, we gave you 23 last year and your numbers are dropped. You're going to be 43 next year. We're not going to give you more than 23. And that would be an impetus for him to say, you know what, then we're definitely going to go and see what other teams have to say. Not that he's going to leave, but he would do that. Now his numbers could certainly conceivably go up from where they were last year, which were good but not normal Brady off-the-chart stuff. So he might have a very, very good statistical year, as good as anybody. I mean, he certainly started that way. So it'll be fascinating to see how Antonio Brown's presence changes that conversation with the team.
What about Gronk? I know that. Is it more enticing, more of a reality possibility with Josh Gordon and AB there on that offense?
It's a great question. From everyone I've talked to close to the situation, he has absolutely no intention of returning to the NFL. And every time he intimates it, it's just to sell something else, which is his right. Good. He built his brand. He's going to leverage it. But from everything I've been told, there will be no Rob Gronkowski in Foxborough this year, probably ever.
Well, keep asking.
Aside from, no, he was there last night. There'll be no him in uniform. How's that?
Keep asking those tough questions to Coach Belichick. We appreciate it.
Just doing my job.
I know. That's what you're supposed to do. That's the Patriot way, Tom.
I'll see you, bud.
Thank you. That's Tom Curran, Patriots Insider, NBC Sports Boston.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune into Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV. Stream for free on BR Live or download the Dan Patrick Show app.